Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby if you are new here. Today I just created this makeup look for you guys that you see right now. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I decided to go with a very dramatic look, which is a little bit different for me. I really like how it turned out. I also used the whole entire Wet n Wild photo focus line. I used the foundation, concealer, and powder. So if you're interested on how that looks on the skin or want to see how it applies, that will also be in this video. So if you're interested in finding out how I did this makeup look or you want to see how those products work, then just keep watching and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thanks for watching. Enjoy. So the first thing that I'm going to do to get started on this eye right here is I'm going to go in with my Hard Candy eye primer. Really like this stuff. If you are looking for an eye primer, I recommend it from the drugstore. It's only like $5 and it gets the job done. Then to cover up all the veininess that I have on my eyelids, I'm going to be going in with this Wet n Wild concealer, and this is in the shade Light Ivory. And to set that concealer in place, I'm just going to be going in with my Morphe 350 matte palette, and I'm going to take the lightest shade right here on a Morphe M433 brush. And I'm just putting this completely all over the lid from inner corner to outer corner, crease to brow bone, just everywhere to set that concealer and apply a nice smooth base for the shadows that we put on top of it. Then to work in a transition shade, I'm going to be going in with this shade right here. First shade and the third row down if you have this palette. Now maybe taking that on the exact same brush, and I'm going to start working this into the crease. I always like to start on the outer part and then lightly swoop it into the inner corner as well. And with this look, you can see that I'm going to try to elongate my eyes because I do have very round eyes. I'm going to try to bring the darkness out to give me the effect of more almond shaped eyes, so you just bring the shadows out as well and your eye will go that way as well. And because I did my eyes first today, you can get a little bit messy with this, so don't worry about it being perfect. If you want to just like totally bring it out to your hairline, that's fine. We'll clean it up later, so don't worry about that. For the next shade, I'm going to be going in with this shade right here, which is a little bit deeper in color. And I'm just going to be taking that on the exact same brush as well. And I'm going to take this a little bit lower. You can also go ahead and apply the color to the whole outer third-ish area, because that color is going to be taken over by this black shadow anyway. So if it's a little bit easier for you to do that, go ahead and do that as well. Also, whenever you are doing a look like this, you can apply tape to your eyes out here if you want to make it a little bit easier to clean up in the end. I'm just going to use concealer, so I'm not worried about that. But if you would like to use tape, that is another good trick to keep your shadows nice and clean. Then to bring in some of that warmth, I'm going to be going in with this shade right here in the palette. Very, very warm, and I love the red colors that it pulls. And because this is such a intense color, I'm going to start working this very, very lightly, applying almost no pressure, and again winging out the outer edge as well. Whenever I wing out, I like to kind of look forward into my mirror and run right along the top part that you can see, and then flick it out here as well with my eye kind of open a little bit more, so you can see what the shadows are going to look like whenever you're looking face on rather than whenever you're looking down into a mirror like this. And with using kind of an intense color, and especially because the shadow look is a little bit more intense, I am going to lightly apply the product and build it up, so that way it's not too crazy at first. And if I don't like the coloring or anything, I can go back in and kind of blend it out and make it look more cohesive together rather than really unblended. Then I'm going to be going into this shade down here, and I'm actually going to switch to a little bit more of a dense brush. This is just a Morphe E13 brush, which looks like this, and I'm just going to be picking up that dark brown shade, and I'm going to start by packing it on to the outer V. Once you have most of that color packed on, then you can kind of start wiggling your brush outwards. I don't like to really like go in and blend whenever I use a dark shadow. I just like to wiggle right across line of demarcation, and that way it creates a soft gradient effect without moving the darkness too much. And then also I'm going to be winging out that darkness as well. Then to add some of that deep dark black color, I'm going to be going into my Urban Decay Smoky palette, which just looks like this, and I'm going to be taking the darkest shade, which is called Blackout. I'm going to be using this on a Coastal Scents number 13 brush, which just looks like this, and I'm going to start packing that black color on, starting by my lash line on this outer edge, and then lightly working it upwards. whenever you are using really intense colors like a black or something, it is really important just to take your time and blend things out, because otherwise you can look really crazy really quickly. And it's just important to make it look nice and soft and blended. And a key to making it look nice and soft and blended is to really apply little pressure to your brushes. You don't want to push them into your eyes, because that adds a lot of pressure in one area, which makes more product apply to that area, and then in turn it's really hard to blend out. So you really just want to lightly use your brush like this, another tip, hold it really far back, and it will make blending so much easier. Again, I'm looking straight on, making sure everything looks blended. And then to add a little bit more of that red intense color, just to make it more vibrant, I'm going to be going in with my 433 brush, like I started with. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that red color, and I'm going to lightly go over that black and into the transition shade. And I'm just going to lightly smoke out this red shade to add a little bit more of that coloring. And then to add this nice bright intense pop of color on the inner corner, which I really think just adds a lot of dimension to your eyes. It brings the focal point in, but then you have that nice smoky out that pulls your eyes out. I think it's just really pretty and adds a lot of character to your eyeshadow look. I'm going to be taking this E.L.f. liquid shadow in brushed copper, and I'm going to be just using a flat top brush like this. Any like little detailed definer brush will work. I'm going to just go right in onto this applicator and pick up some of that product onto this brush. And I'm going to start by stippling this on, starting in the inner corner, and I'm going to lightly work it and start blending it into those shadows once I have the majority on the inner corner. This was in a favorites video that I just posted, my April favorites, and I have been using it so much because I think it is so pretty. You do just have to be very careful and let it dry a little bit before you open your eyes and start talking and moving them around and everything, because I find that it will transfer. And especially whenever you do have an eyeshadow look like this and you open your eyes, sometimes it will go onto the top portion right here, which is really annoying, but it is really beautiful. So I'm not gonna toss it or anything. I think it's really pretty. It gives such a nice metallic look. This will dry down as well, but just because I want it to kind of set in place and add a lot of shine, I want to go ahead and set it with another eyeshadow over the top. This is my 350 shimmer palette, which is the exact same thing as the matte palette, just all shimmer colors. And I'm going to be taking this shade mixed with this shade and then a pop of that shade as well, which is the lightest shade in the palette. I'm just going to mix all three of those on the exact same brush. And I'm going to start dabbing that on right over the top of that liquid eyeshadow. This isn't necessary. If you have the E.L.f. shadow, you can get away with just using that as well. I just like the look of having kind of some reinforcement over the top of it to make it really nice and shiny. And then to blend those two shadows in and just make it look nice and blended, I'm going to be going in with that exact same Morphe 433 brush, and I'm just going to lightly go right over the line where those two shadows meet, just in the very center of my eye. And then for eyeliner today, which I think really adds a nice dimension to this eye look, I'm going to be taking my Maybelline Eye Studio Blackest Black Eyeliner, and I'm going to be using a Coastal Scents number 21 brush, which is just a very sharp pointed angled brush. Any angled definer will do as well. And I'm going to start by looking straight ahead, and because my eyes are so round, I'm trying to create the illusion of a longer almond shaped eye. So instead of making my wing go upwards, which is going to basically bring my eye kind of in a more round flicky shape, I'm going to try to take my eyeliner and pull it straight out from my eye to create this nice long line that I have going on. So I'm not going to go up, I'm going to try to angle my eyeliner straight out from the corner of my eye. And I'm bringing this eyeliner pretty far into the corner of my eye, but I'm keeping it nice and very thin to my lash line. I'm going to be using false lashes, so this is going to help to kind of blend those two together and make it really seamless and look like the lash band is non-existent, which is going to look nice and natural. So now that that is on, I'm going to curl my eyelashes and apply a little bit of my Carbon Black Luminous Mascara, and then I'm going to pop on my lashes. The lashes that I popped on are these Salon Perfect Wispy lashes. They come in a package like this. I got them at the drugstore and they're only like $2 or $3. I can't remember, but they are actually really pretty. They are a little bit shorter than my other ones, which I don't mind. That's not an issue. And they're a little bit more thick. They do look more natural though. They don't look as long and wispy, but they do look like thick, natural, really voluminous. Not short, but just as long as my lashes kind of lashes. So I don't mind that. They are just a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I like them. We're going with them. Today to prime, I'm going to be using my Nivea Post Shave Balm. I love this stuff. It is really inexpensive at the drugstore. It gives you a nice sticky base and keeps your foundation on all day long. And then just right in the T-zone, right around my nose area, I'm going to be going in with my Milani Prime Shield Face Primer Mattifying and Pore Filling Primer, which is exactly what I'm going to use it for today. I'm just going to get a little bit on my fingers, and I'm just going to press it right into the area right by my nose and on my nose, and this is just going to fill up any pores that I have that I don't want to be seen, because I am going to be going in with a matte foundation today. I just want everything to look flawless and perfect. And then for foundation, I'm going to be going in with my Wet n Wild foundation. This is the Photofocus in Buff Bisque. And I really, really love this. It is a little bit more matte. It's probably the most matte foundation that I have in my collection. I just don't really lean towards matte foundations, but I really love it. I've been reaching for it quite often, and I think it stays on very well. I will say that it does kind of settle into lines and wrinkles that you have on your face if you don't set it. If you set it and kind of like give it a nice secure, locked in place, I don't find that it moves too much, and I don't mind it at all. I go back to it, so it's not too bad. And I'm just going to be using my Real Techniques buffing brush to blend this in. But you can see right off the bat, it provides a pretty good amount of coverage. I would say that it's about medium to full. It's more on the full side, but it's not completely full because you can still see my freckles through it. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but definitely in person you can still see my freckles, but they are very light. They are not completely gone, but they are there just a little bit. If you are wondering, I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pomade to do my eyebrows today in the shade Soft Brown. I really like it, except for I do find that it dries out very quickly, so you have to apply like some sort of eye drops or water or something to the mixture just to keep it nice and moist so you're able to use it. And then for concealer, I'm going to be going in with my Wet n Wild concealer. This is also from the Photofocus line, and this is in the shade medium, light medium maybe? Yes, this is the shade light medium. And then to just add a little bit of brightness, I'm going to be going in with my Maybelline Age Rewind concealer as well, and apply this to the inner portions of my eye and just right on the under eye on that inner corner. This covers up any darkness, but it also adds more of a yellow coloring, which is going to make you look nice, bright, and awake, and just really youthful. It's also going to contour your face, so it's going to lift your cheekbones and create that natural hollow already that you can kind of see now just from the illusion of having the light under eyes. I'm going to blend that out with my Real Techniques sponge. And this is whenever you can go back in and clean up that portion of your eyeshadow. If you got a little messy, you can just cover it up with concealer, or before you go in with your foundation at all, you can take a little bit of makeup remover and clean it up that way as well. But concealer will do the trick also. And then to set the under eyes, I like to go in with my CoverGirl Advanced Radiance Powder. I really love this for underneath the eyes. This is the shade Fair Ivory. I just like to load it up on a Morphe 438 brush and apply this underneath my eyes before I bake, and it just really smooths out all of those little fine lines that you have underneath your eyes. And I like to work this in a back and forth motion. So I will go this way, and then I will turn around and go the other way as well. I just find that that really fills in all those little wrinkles and creates a really smooth under eye. And then to set my face, I'm going to be going in with my Wet n Wild Photofocus Pressed Powder in the shade Neutral Buff. And I'm going to be using a Wet n Wild stippling brush as well. This is really just like a flat top brush, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to pack on this powder. And this does give you a little bit more coverage as well. I just wanted to use all the Wet n Wild products together just to see how they perform all together. I'm not sure that I've ever used them all together, to be honest. But I have them, and I want to try them out to see if I notice a difference in the way that they layer. I think that that is really providing me such a beautiful, full coverage, even base. I really like it. So I am going to be doing a little bit of contouring today. I'm going to be taking my Shade and Light palette by Kat Von D. As always, I really love this. And I'm going to be going in with the middle shade on this Real Technique sculpting brush. I really love this because it doesn't create such a sharp line that it's really hard to blend out, but it gives you a nice shadow contour as well. And I'm going to again apply light pressure and start working this into circular motions right in that hollow of my cheek. And I'm also going to create a shadow kind of right here, just very, very lightly. I like to do this just to kind of give me that like look, if that makes sense. I'm not sure. And then I'm going to actually contour my nose a little bit today. I'm going to be taking that middle shade as well on this Morphe brush. There aren't any letters on this because they completely rubbed off, but I like it because it is a little bit more tapered this way, so it's a little bit thinner, but it's still nice and fluffy and can blend things out very well. So I'm just going to take a very, very small amount of product on this brush, and I'm going to look straight into a mirror, and I'm going to lightly start carving out the sides of my nose. And then I'm going to lightly blend it down the side of my nose as well. You don't want to go all the way because that will actually make your nose look wider, but you do want to blend it in a little bit so it doesn't look like just a tiny little line on the side of your nose. And then once you have that done, you can just kind of blend it. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And then once all that's done, I just like to take my sponge and just lightly tap over all of that to make sure it's not too harsh and too dramatic so it doesn't look like I contoured my nose. And then for bronzer today, I'm going to be going into my Makeup Revolution palette. This is just all about bronze, and I'm just going to kind of mix all of these colors together just on a Wet n Wild little angled brush like this. I'm just going to lightly mix all of those and then start bronzing up the perimeters of my face. I'm actually loving the way that this foundation is looking with this powder as well. It is almost like a powder finish foundation, and then once you put the powder on top, it looks like airbrushed skin. To be honest, I think it's really, really beautiful. Never used these together, so I think that might be a new favorite to use these. And then for blush today, I'm going to be going into this E.L.f. little quad that I have, and I'm going to take the top two shades right here and lightly put that on my Morphe E.L.f. brush. Very, very lightly. I like to tap off the excess on my wrist, and then I just like to lightly apply this to the apples of my face. And then I'm going to finish off the lower lash line. So I'm going to make this pretty dramatic. I'm just going to go in with this brush right here, which is a Coastal Scents BR-C-SO8 brush, which is pretty fluffy. It is nice and tapered, but it is a little bit wider than I'm used to on my lower lash line. And I'm going to first go in with this shade right here from the Morphe palette. And I'm going to load that up mostly on the top of the brush and just a tiny bit on the sides. I'm not going to like lay my brush flat into the pan or anything, but I do want a lot of the product on the top. And then I'm just going to go right under that lash line from basically inner corner to outer corner. And I'm not being precise with this at all because I do want the lower lash line pretty smoked out. I'm going to try it a little bit different than I normally do. I don't go too crazy on the lower lash line, but I really want to make it nice and smoky and dramatic. I'm going to try it. I'm actually going to bring that shadow down to where my eyes fold right here. I'm going to keep that pretty much the line of shadow. And then with that same brush, I'm going to go into that red shade, which is right here. This one actually. And I'm going to be using that same brush, and I'm just going to get a little bit to start off with, and I will pack up the color, but I don't want it to be too intense going in. I know that this look is very dramatic, like I'm very, very aware, but I wanted to try something different than what I normally do. So I wanted to be a little bit bold and crazy with my color. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a brush like this, and I'm going to go into that lightest shade on the top as well. These are matte colors, so it's not going to add any shimmer to underneath my eye. And I'm going to take that and run it right along the edge of those colors just to make sure it's nice and soft at the edge of that. This is very outside of my comfort zone, but I think it's really pretty and I like it. And I always watch YouTubers and Instagram makeup videos where I'm always like, I wish I was that bold with my makeup. So I'm happy I'm doing this. I do think it looks pretty good, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. So that's where I'm at with this. And then to thicken up my lower lash line, I'm going to be going in with that same liquid gel liner. Not liquid, it's gel. And I'm going to use the exact same brush, and I'm just going to tightline my bottom lashes with this gel. And I'm going completely from outer corner to inner corner with that. And then I'm going to switch over to a little bit more of a detailed brush. This is my Y22 brush from Morphe, which looks like this. And I'm going to take that gel eyeliner right on the lower lash line, and I'm going to start moving that just into the actual lash line. So I'm going to be using it from the waterline and lightly blend it into the lash line. This is so smoky, you guys. I'm not used to this, but it's really fun. So I'm going to keep going. And for my highlighter today, I'm going to apply this to my brow bone, my inner corner, and the top portion of my cheeks. I'm going to be going into my Flower Beauty Trio. As you guys can see, this is still broken. I was going to exchange it and get a new one, but I just never got around to it. So that's really sad, but it is a really good trio. So if you are interested, I would still go ahead and buy it. I'm not sure if it's a problem with the formula that made it crack or if it was just my palette. I'm really not sure. But anyway, all three I really liked, so I would definitely recommend it if you are interested in it. And then I'm going to take this on a Morphe Y14 brush, and I'm going to hit the top portions of my cheeks. This is also a very, as you can see, a very blinding but like silvery highlight. So if you're deep skin tone, you might want to go with something that's a little bit more gold colored, because this might look like a strip of like white on your cheek. But if you were a little bit more fair or just like medium skin tone, this is going to be really beautiful. So I'm going to apply this to my nose, the top parts of my cheek, and then I'm also going to go in with a little bit of a shader brush like this. Sorry about that. Go with a little bit of shader brush, get a little bit, and I'm going to apply this underneath my brow bone and right on the inner corner as well. You can see how stinking pretty this is. And then the last thing that I have to do is lips, and I'm kind of feeling like a 90s like big juicy lips kind of lip. So I'm going to try going in with this Maybelline lipstick in the shade Coffee Addict, just 780, and I'm going to use just like a detailed brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit on this brush, and I'm going to line my lips with this color. This is a very brown color, which I like, and then I'm going to fill it in with more of a nude lip in the center. Just like that. And then to fill in the center, I'm going to be going with this MAC lipstick in the shade Viva Glam 2. And this is a nice matte lipstick. And then just a little bit of gloss in the center. I'm going to be using this Essence lip gloss. It's in this shade. It doesn't have any writing or anything on it, so I'm not sure what shade it is. I'm just going to apply this to the very center of my lips to give that nice full juicy pout. Can't talk. And that is it for this makeup look. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this. This is totally outside of my comfort zone. This is a lot of makeup for me, but I really enjoy it. It was super fun to make this video for you guys, and I think it turned out very well. So if you guys like this look, don't forget to give me a thumbs up before you leave and subscribe. Also leave me a comment, whatever you guys want to see next. Leave that down below and I'll make sure to get that out for you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in my next video.